But Shalom, giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Chachodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, and a sincere Shalom to you, Akim, pushing this word around the globe in faith and in truth and in sincerity. So as always, I start by saying that we are the real Hebrew Israelites, the true Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We are the true descendants of the man in the Bible who was named Israel, and therefore we are the Israelites. Now, this doesn't just apply to the people I mentioned before. This also applies to anybody who might look like any of the other 17 nations. But if this word resonates with your spirit, and you believe in it in faith and in truth and in sincerity, and you believe in the names of Yahweh, while Yahawashi, and you believe in the totality of the 1611 King James Bible, which includes the Old Testament, New Testament, and Apocrypha, then you too might be an Israelite, no matter what you look like, because pertaining to Numbers 1 and 21, Numbers 1 and 18, your nationality is determined by the seed line of your father. So your nationality can't be determined by what it says on your passport or what country you live in. It actually goes back to your genealogy. I believe the word nationality goes back to the word natal. Anyway, not to dwell on that. If you'd like to learn more about the nations that fall under the 12 tribes of Israel, then just Google GMS 12 tribe sign. So in this lesson, I want to talk a bit about how Edomites never give glory to the Most High. Whereas even 2/3 Jake, they will generally have some sort of, even though they're going off and they don't know the truth, they've got some concept of a higher power. Whereas Edomites, they don't acknowledge any higher power at all. The scriptures say that Esau is the basest of men and the lowest of the heathen. So basically, the nation of the Edomites is probably the most unspiritual people on the planet. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because I'm always paying attention to sort of like examples of Yahweh's judgment, because every day the judgment goes out from the Most High. So I stumbled across this video of basically these people went to a theme park over here in the UK. There's a theme park, major theme park, one of the most popular ones called Alton Towers, where they've got like, you know, fairground rides like Disney World and stuff like that, you know, the roller coasters and shit. Now, I'm just going to put this out there. If you're in this truth, we're supposed to be walking circumspect. And I'm just going to say this. If you're in this truth and you believe in Yahweh, Yahawashi, I wouldn't really advise going on theme park rides generally. I mean, I know obviously all of us have, you know, outside this truth, we have our fun and stuff. But basically, I mean, when you're going on a roller coaster, you're basically tempting the Lord. You know, you're putting yourself in a very high risk, high danger situation. And for what? You know, what? 3 minutes of like exhilaration? You know, that's kind of like rolling the dice and tempting the Most High. I'm just saying that. Now, obviously, you know, I've been in the world. I've been on fairground rides before. But I've just seen one crash too many. And I'm like, you know what, man? You need to be wise. You need to walk circumspect. And this story is a great example of that. So basically, I'm going to play this video clip. It's from a breakfast morning show in the UK here called This Morning. And this person who was in the crash is going to give her testimony of what happened. And then I'm going to get into some scriptures. So let me play this.
You're extremely nervous and it didn't feel right somehow.
I just didn't feel comfortable. I just felt like poorly, if you will. And then Dan actually said, he's like, "Are you all right? You're a bit quiet."
Because you were on the ride with your mate, weren't you, with Dan? Dan Thorpe, isn't it?
Yes.
So once you got on, it was obviously one of those problem rides on that day, because it went wrong a couple of times, didn't it? You had to get off.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it doing that anyway, so it was just sort of something that happened.
And then you got to the top of the loop and stopped there for quite a while.
Yeah.
When you set off again, and we've heard this from Joe and Leah as well, telling their sort of sides of the story, who were also in the front of that carriage. How much were you aware of what was about to happen?
Well, we couldn't see anything because we'd literally got on the ride and we were right at the top, so we didn't think to look down. We were just like looking around because we were really high. So we could see quite a lot, and we were just sort of talking about that. And then I'm sure Joe said something about getting his phone out and taking a picture, something like that. So we were all just sort of chatting. And then obviously there was a tannoy that came through, and they said we'll get the ride started again soon, so don't worry. But I've heard of people coming off at that point anyway. They just stop the ride and then they help them down. So I've heard of that. So I just thought that's what had happened. But then there was a massive clank and we set off.
And you saw this empty carriage in front of you, and you said in your head your thought process was, well, there's no way that we're going to hit it. That can't happen. Things like that just don't happen.
Yeah, it sort of, for me, it sort of went slow motion. So I didn't see it and it just happened. It sort of, we went down and then went round a loop and everyone was screaming because it's scary. And then it was really exciting, and then all of a sudden it just was just horrifying, and because it went slow motion, I was just like, why is it there? I was like,
now do you hear that? She said she was going around the loop and everybody was, screaming and cheering because it was exhilarating and frightening. But then she saw that there's basically a stationary roller coaster car in front of them, and they were going to crash into it. Now she says it went in slow motion. That means that Yahawaha slowed down the time. Now basically Yahawaha can fuck you up any way he wants to do because it's his judgment, yeah? But I'm just saying that because basically Yahawaha can make you really suffer. You know what I mean? So in this situation, he slowed down time. So she saw, oh shit, we're going to hit this thing. He gave her enough time to sort of like process it and, really know what was going to happen. But even in all of that, she doesn't once give praise, honor and glory unto Yahawashi, Yahawashi. She doesn't even say, by the grace of God or thanks to God or anything like that. And that's something that Edomites never do. You know what I mean? Even the Jake will say, praise God or praise Jesus. Even when they're going off that, God isn't the true name of the Heavenly Father and Jesus isn't the name of Yahawashi, they've still got some kind of like awareness of a higher power. As Edomites, no matter what happens to them, they never acknowledge a higher power. So let's keep going with this. I just want to bring up one scripture based on a precept on what I'm seeing here. I want to bring up 1 Timothy 5 and 6. It says, but she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. So obviously here you've got this Edomite girl on the screen here. This Edomite girl's on the screen here, and she's on the fairground line, having the time of her life, as they say. But 1 Timothy 5 and 6 says, but she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. And obviously she's dead because I suspect she's an Edomite, but secondly, she's dead because she doesn't have the knowledge, wisdom and understanding of the Holy Scriptures pertaining to Ezekiel 37, we were dead bones, we was in a dead state until we woke up to this understanding. But I suspect this is an Edomite and this ain't for her anyway, but just making that point. I'll continue with the video.
This doesn't happen. I was like, no. I'm like, no way.
When you were finally taken down and taken to hospital, what was said to you then?
I just kept asking for my mum over and over again. I weren't listening to what people were saying. I just kept saying, I want my mum. I've got my mum's phone number. I can tell it you right now. And I asked multiple people. I asked the ambulance service, the fire service, and asked the policeman as well.
So who contacted you the first time? When did you know that this horrific accident had happened to your daughter?
I got a phone call about 4 p.m. to ask if I'd seen the news, which I hadn't. And he said who he was, the policeman. And first of all, obviously I hadn't seen the news, so I didn't know what was happening. When he said there'd been an accident, I thought it was my son, because he does a lot of motorway driving with his business. And then when he said Victoria's asked me to phone you, obviously I said, well, what's wrong? Is she okay? He said, she's been injured in the accident, so put the TV on straight away, and it just knocked me sick.
Can't imagine what that.
My main concern was I wanted to get to her as soon as possible. I wanted to jump in the car and go as fast as I could.
When you got to hospital, that process of trying to stabilise your leg, trying to save your leg, and it was in a terrible, terrible condition. Your leg was in a dreadful mess.
Right, let's get into this, yeah? Oh, here, this is her leg after the crash on the roller coaster, yeah? Now, they're saying, oh, your leg's in a terrible, terrible condition. And yes, it is in a terrible condition, because as you can see, if you look at the top right-hand corner of the screen, this girl's clearly inked up. She's got tattoos. And what do the scriptures say about tattoos? Let me get this on the screen if I can, Lord willing. Give me a second, Slakia. Right, Slakia, okay. Leviticus 19:28. Leviticus 19:28 says, "Ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am Yahwaha." So basically, see, this is how these people in this society aren't spiritual. They're not going to look at this crash victim's situation here.
Yes.
Her leg, yeah? Clearly, her right leg is the one that's got tattoos. In Leviticus 19:28 tells us that we're not supposed to be printing any marks on our bodies, yeah? So in this situation, Yahweh's brought judgment upon her and he's destroyed her leg. Yeah, and it happens to be her right leg. Now, from this picture, it doesn't look like she's got tattoos on her left leg. I don't know, maybe she does. But Yahweh's judged her and he's made a point of like destroying the leg with the tattoo. But these people in this society are so unspiritual that they won't, look at this. They'll just think, oh, it is an accident and, it is what it is. Do I have any more scriptures I want to bring out? Salakia, give me a second. Let me see. I want to bring out another scripture. Just let me find it. Hold on a second. Yeah. I want to get Deuteronomy 32 and 39. So let me bring that up on the screen. Right, here we go. This is Deuteronomy 32 and 39. It says, "See now that I, even I, am He, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand." See, this is Yahweh's words. I'm going to read that again. Deuteronomy chapter 32 and 39. "See now that I, even I, am He, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand." So this is the direct consequence of the works and the judgment of Yahweh Shem Yahawashi. So let's see how it goes on. Because this Edomite here, she's never going to say, oh, well, by the grace of God or thanks to God or anything like that. She ain't going to do none of that. She's just going to keep being simple, keep being stupid, because these Edomites are the most unspiritual people on the planet.
At what point was it discussed that you might lose it?
I was laid in the bed and there was multiple people around me. There was a lot of surgeons, so obviously they had to get plastics involved and everything like that. There was a lot of nurses like telling me different things, like making sure they had my personal information, things like that, and then taking my jewellery out, multiple things. And then I think it was just before they took me in, as I was signing the consent, they actually said we might have to amputate. I'm just obviously letting you know because it's what you're consenting for. I just thought, oh well, you hear it all the time. They've got to say these things because anything could happen.
Well, they tried so hard over the coming days, weeks. They tried so hard to save it, and then unfortunately, the pain you say was dreadful. You couldn't stand the pain. It was almost a relief when they had to take it off.
It was unbearable because I couldn't control my leg at all. It was just there. It wasn't my leg. I couldn't control it, and it didn't look like my leg. It just looked horrific.
You went to the safety laboratory where the actual carriage from the wreckage is there to go and see it for the first time. And how did that feel for you seeing it there?
I wanted to see it because I thought it would help me sort of get over it. And I was really curious at how it looked because what I remember might not necessarily be correct. So I wanted to sort of confirm that. So as soon as we got there, we drove in and they were there. So I got upset because obviously it's the car that we were in.
Of course.
And it wasn't nice seeing it. It was just all just crumpled and just sort of mashed together because it sort of went in that kind of like a V direction because on the back of the rides there's something that sticks out like a tow bar, if you will.
I see.
Right in the middle, so obviously as we've sort of collided, the middle bit's sort of gone into like between me and Leah, so obviously that's why it's gone like that. But the ride is about where our feet were, it would have been about that big, So we've hit it at such a speed, it's gone to about that big.
Oh my gosh. And did it help? Did it help for you to piece that information together, just to give you a bit of a clearer idea of what happened?
Yeah, it definitely helped. I couldn't touch it. It sort of knocked me sick even thinking about touching it. But I wanted to see, obviously, how it looked, and it definitely helped.
Okay, so that's the woman's testimony, the crash survivor. Now, obviously, as you can see on this screen here, look on the screen on the left side, you've got this woman with these huge, ridiculous sized tits, and I mean, this is just shows the kind of society we live in, where folly is set in great dignity. You know, they'll talk about stuff like this, but they won't talk about the true wisdom, the highest wisdom which is on this earth, which is the wisdom that comes from knowing the Holy Scriptures. So I'm going to bring out two precepts before I close. So let me see what I've got here. Let me see. Proverbs 1:7 is a good one to get. So this is the book of Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 7. It says, "The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction." Now that girl who was in the crash, she was a complete fool because A, she's an Edomite, but B, there she was. She's been in a near-death experience. She's had to have her leg amputated, but yet she still doesn't give any praise, honor, and glory unto Yahawashi. You know what I mean? She didn't stop there and think, hey, you know what, man? I really come close to the edge. I really need to get my affairs in order. I need to set my spirit right, because I don't know when the day of the Lord's coming. Because the scriptures say the day of the Lord shall come as a thief in the night. I mean, even if she wasn't in that accident, you know, she's not really in a very this is basically, she's got the mindset of a fool, and all the interviewers also had the mindsets of fools, because, you know, they too were Edomites. But nobody was saying that, you know what, man, maybe this is judgment from the Most High for you getting your leg covered in tattoos or some other sin that you've done. You know, nobody's going to say that. They're all going to be simple and be like, oh, you know, it's just a terrible accident, or it's kind of crap. So I said Proverbs 1:7. Let me read it again. "The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction." Now I've got a precept which lines up beautifully with that, and it's Job 30:8. Let me get that. There we go, Job 30:8. But I'm going to read up a bit. No, let me read this, then I'll read up a bit. It says, "They were children of fools, yea, children of base men, and they were viler than the earth." So who are these people that it's speaking about? Let's go up and find out. But now that Job 30:1, but now this is speaking about the Edomites, yeah? The Edomites, you so-called white people, or you so-called, you know, Europeans, whatever. Truth of the matter is that you're not white. You're actually red, because your blood shows forth through your skin, and you're identified in the book of Genesis chapter 25, I believe. And I believe chapter 36 goes into more depth about who exactly Esau is and the nation of Edom, because Esau's name was changed to Edom, which I believe Edom also means red. But Esau means wasted away is he, Isashua, because when Esau came out of the womb, he had no melanin. So therefore, when Isaac looked at him, he said Isashua, which was a nomen omen to say wasted away is he. But Jacob came out looking natural, dark skin like everybody else at that time. But let me read Job 30:1. Yeah, this describes the nature of the Edomites. It says, "But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished?" Here it goes. It says, "For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They are driven forth from among men. They cried after them as a thief." It says, "To dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in the caves of the earth, and in the rocks," because Esau's true homeland is Mount Seir or Mount Petra. Yeah. "Among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together." And here's the point, 30 and 8. They were children of fools, yea, children of base men, and they were viler than the earth. So basically, these people are foolish, because if you go back into Proverbs 1 and 7, it says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, but fools despise instruction. So I just wanted to bring that out, and Lord willing, if the Lord wills it to be, I might bring out more videos showing the spirit of these Edomites, that no matter how much, no matter how many signs Yahweh might show them, they won't acknowledge the Heavenly Father as being, they'll say, I don't believe in God, or oh, I'm an atheist, or when I die, that's it, and it's just nothingness, or they'll believe in the Big Bang, or whatever the hell it is, because this is their spirit. Their spirit is perverse. It's not upright in them, and they don't understand deep spiritual things, because it wasn't given to them, because Esau is a profane person, profane meaning outside of the temple. So with that, I want to give once again all honor, praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Ruchachudash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who rule well, and a sincere shalom to all your Akim, who be pushing this word around the globe in faith and in truth and in sincerity. Until the next time I'm able to do a lesson, Lord willing, I'll say shalom.